Okay, I'm back, Daryl.
About time.
I know. I was scared.
That I don't know if there's a certain set protocol or a set precedent. I know they didn't do it for quite a while, but to report things are moving forward with their site plan. Money's been paid for the site plan review and the engineer. Not only that, they pulled a demo permit for the barn in the front, that dilapidated old uninhabitable structure. That got demoed. They pulled a sign permit, and they're even talking about on the north, I believe it's, or the north end of their property, or the south end, putting up a brick wall to help keep out the noise from the neighbors. So I've stayed in as good contact as I can with them to see what's going on and to keep the relationship, because as it is, they do exist. And they did pay their $500 annual fee. I believe, Lisa, you took that last week?
Yes, I did, sorry.
Okay.
Yep, I did.
Also, in the interest of fairness, I've turned the track over. I didn't turn the track over. I had a curiosity if the racetrack needed any type of soil erosion, and Jenna from Soil Erosion said no. About the camping, I've talked to our attorney who said it's not a problem. Not only that, the state campground people don't deem it a campground when they got people camping for 3 days. There's also been moves made to address charitable contributions for race tracking, and all of those have come back as no authority. So as far as it looks, they are staying in compliance. Is there any questions from any of the board on what I said, or any clarifications?
I'm good.
I'm good.
I'm good.
Daryl, you good?
I'm good.
Okay.
And just to reiterate, before we move on, me and the building inspector did go to a site inspection. I don't remember if that was the beginning of this year or 2020 or the end of 2019. But if the only structure that needed any type of permit, it was their lookout observation tower. And if I'm correct, the building inspector has issued a permit. And I don't know if that has been finalized yet or not, or what the status is on that, but I know they have been pulling the permits and then making their ways to be compliant. In regards to that, Pam Ackerman has said several times about the planning commission formulating a instructional motocross track ordinance, which if you read the non-conforming part of our ordinance, since it is essentially in that district only existing due to the consent agreement, it is still not a permitted use. So once you pass an ordinance like that, that becomes a non-conforming use, and then they will be locked into how they operate now. They can't go bigger, they can't expand. The only thing they can do is maintain. Wouldn't be allowed to change their schedule, wouldn't be allowed to do anything.
Is that something we're looking into, Ron, or it's?
Honestly, it could also end up opening up another can of worms where you just allowed other instructional motocross tracks to operate in the Ag 2 commercial district.
Okay.
You know, so it's something to be well thought out of. Speak with the attorney on that. And I know it's an unpopular opinion, but they exist. And the best thing I think we could do is continue to work with them. If they have violations that warrant us going to court and challenging the consent judgment, we have to keep in mind if we lose, we not only pay our fees and eat those costs, we have to pay theirs too. That's in the consent judgment. So far, they've been communicative. I've been on the site. I've seen their record keeping. And that's all I could really say. They've been working and worked to correct everything that they've been violated on. And without going to court and spending money and having some type of provable reasons to go to court, you're really wasting the money to challenge a consent judgment.
Okay.
So if the board or the planning commission want to do that, I think we should approach the attorney first.
Okay. Any other comments? All right, moving on. Lisa, this was what you wanted on the water grant?
Uh,
Number 4?
yeah. Because we've got that email that you forwarded on to us, Penny, from, I think today, right?
Yes.
I would like to make a motion to, according to the PER, to finalize that district. So it can't be changed later on.
All right. You're talking about the district mapping that was in the PR?
Yeah, the PR to the grant. Since the grant was written, according to the current PR that we have, I would like to make a motion to finalize that district. I think I'm saying that right.
Not exactly sure. There were a couple of scenarios in there. Which one did you want to finalize? I don't have it in front of me. Of course, I can't get to it because it'll cut off my internet.
I don't think there was any different scenarios in the PER. There was just for all of the whole township, the district to be the whole entire township.
I don't think it was like
I know
that.
it was in phases. There was like, if I remember right, 3 phases.
She might have sent it to my Comcast. Let me see if I can't, it won't let me out.
I know I did receive a couple calls from people who want water that are worried that the district's going to be smaller, and they're going to be excluded, which they were kind of upset because they want water and they thought that we were using that whole map. But I kind of explained it to him, and they were upset that the grant money might be going to just a smaller district.
Right, and because of those concerns, that shouldn't happen. That should actually stay into whatever the PR that we had submitted with the grant should stay that way. For the whole entire township, from my understanding, when I got educated on it, it was the whole entire township.
I'm trying to pull it up. Hang on for a minute. I think it's in my Comcast email, but I'm not positive.
Because it sounds like that they may come with an answer a lot sooner than what we thought.
Yeah, the email I got from Manic today said that it's moving along faster than what they anticipated. I know according to the PR, that would get the water to most of the township. At a decent price, but
All right. Okay. Here. I don't know if I can share my screen or not. I should be able to share my screen. Can everybody see this? This is from my email. This is the PER. This is the preferred alternative. See, when I read it, they have alternatives here. So that's why selection of an alternative.
do you have a copy of the original?
This is it. Can you see it?
Wasn't there 2 maps in there though?
No, if you look, that's an old one. That's actually June of 2020.
It's the only one I have.
There's a newer one than that, Mike?
Yeah, the one that
They
went
used
out with the grant. It was January 30th. No, because
No, we've only
give me a
had
second.
we've only done one of these. There's only one PER.
No,
Yeah.
no, they had to change dates on it. There
But they didn't
is,
change anything inside of it. That's what I'm trying
yeah,
to.
they did. Yeah, they did. Yes, they did. They changed the dates for when build phases would start. There's going to be why am I doing this?
So did they change the map?
They couldn't have
No,
changed.
map stays. The map has not changed. It has been the dates of when the phases would start to be constructed. So yes, there was stuff changed inside that E PER.
Well, if it was changed, then it wasn't given to me because we only changed one, we only have paid for one
So-
PR.
Scroll down, keep going, keep going, keep going. Are there? A lot. Keep going, keep going. You'll get to where it starts showing dates or phases. Going. There's your wells. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going.
Good distance thing, this one wasn't in the township.org mail, otherwise I wouldn't have been able to get it.
Trying to
I'm looking.
figure out where. What is this?
Proposed, recommended, alternative.
Yeah, right here. This was all changed.
Well, of course, it would have to be changed because of.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Stuff was changed. You said nothing was changed in here. Yes, stuff
I
was
don't
changed in
have
the
a
P.
copy of anything that was changed. This is the only copy I have.
Barb sent it to everybody.
It must be in the other one then because it's not in my email here.
So it's just starting
But
date.
nothing has changed on the, yeah,
So
starting,
the dates
finishing,
have changed, but the basic meat of the
everything.
program is the same, just the dates have changed. So like
Correct.
we're so that's it. All right. But Lisa wanted a map.
So there's your map with the different phases.
This is one of them.
Those dates will all be changed.
So there's only one map.
Correct. Stays the same.
Proposed project recommended alternative figure E2. Okay.
Okay, in the comments, I got a comment from Barb, which says the board cannot finalize a district without following all the required steps in the law, PA 188.
And I have PA 188. Okay, where's my screen? New share. I have it up on the screen.
So if we finalize a district, then I guess we have to start with the petitions. I think the process has to start.
No,
No?
that would be that she has to get at least 55% of the
One,
current district
I thought it was 51.
that's in the PER.
it's 51.
Huh?
It's
51%.
51%.
Well, the board can actually set it to whatever it may be. It could be 55, it could be 60, but common practice is roughly
51.
55.
All right. So, do I need to share my screen anymore? I can move it back.
So Mike, you're saying that Barb isn't correct, that we, according to Act 188, if we start a district, designated district, that we don't have to start with the petitions or can we just,
No, because then she has to get the the 51% for the total PER district, okay, with all three phases, to show that there's interest in everything to move forward. Then once she gets that, the assessor has to finalize all those signatures and parcels that those people are there, you know, still live there, everything, correct acreage, all that. And then once that's finalized, yes, then the board sends out the petitions through the mailing, because that's to save the township money. So it doesn't send out petitions to see if actually people actually truthfully really want water in that district.
The petitions is in part of the public.
Informal
1.723.
informal petitions to see if there's actually need for water. And then
Just like the informal knows, so she has to
once
do it.
that's done, yeah, then she gets 51%, then, and everything checks out, the board makes a decision to create the or send out the actual petitions from the formal petitions through the township.
All right, I have another comment from Barb. If the board wants to create their own district, then they need to notify all impacted residents of the cost and time for the first public hearing.
There is no public hearing until there's a they get the 51% of the informal petitions that want city water in that district.
I know I had an email from Bondi. I don't know. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Stating that, you know, the board sets can approve or deny a district.
Mhm.
I thought Bondi told you that we could do this,
Yeah,
Penny.
I
That's what I was-
think, yeah, I think she did, but I want to confirm that because I had questions about how the district, you know, gets set up and so yeah, she did give me an email, but I need to find it. If I didn't know we were going to talk about this, I would have had it.
Well, Penny, I can tell you, I, for one, would certainly feel better having an attorney's
Input.
input and view of this before I make any decisions on anything. You know, I mean, this impacts the whole township.
Yep.
I certainly don't want to go off hearsay.
well, this is how you would
This
actually,
is what I got from Bondi. It says, good afternoon, Penny. The board never took action to create or tentatively declare its intent to create a district as I understand it. Since you did not do that, any petitions from prior aren't really relevant to the process other than for the board's information as to the feelings of the people. As such, the board can proceed to create a water district by one of two ways. One, township board may by resolution without any citizen petition initiate procedure for creation of special assessment district for water systems. However, once the board does that, if record owners of more than 20% of the total land area in the proposed district file written objections at or before the hearing of necessity, the township, let me scroll down here. Board cannot proceed with its resolution initiating the procedure unless a citizen petition of record property owners of more than 50% of the total land area in the special assessment district is filed. Or two, upon resolution of the board following a receipt of a petition for creation of a special assessment district for water system improvements signed by record owners of land consisting more than 50% of the total land area in the special assessment district. As for your questions below, the board never has to create a district. even if the owners are of more than 50% of lands to be assessed requested. If the preliminary engineering design, PER, has been established and is the basis for a grant upon which all of this is predicted and went to the county, I am not sure how we change or vary from that now. Maybe we can, but would have to check with MNS, Mannequin Smith, on parameters of grant and ability to adjust the PER. I assume that Mannequin Smith prepared the PER using their best knowledge and information as to a feasible project. As for the petition process, signing a petition requesting water improvements be considered does not permanently obligate any resident to remain a yes vote. Once the cost of the district is revealed, they have the right to remove their name from the petition. I think the first public notice should include the amount estimated for the project, so persons have the opportunity to remove their names, support the project prior to close of a first hearing. If we know it now, it would be great to be able to put the cost on the petition, but the cost is usually not included on the initial petition. I am attaching a checklist regarding special assessment district creation pursuant to PA 188 for your review as well. So from my reading, it says that if she's suggesting that maybe we stick with the PER, if that's what we
Exactly.
built the grant for.
And I understand that. I mean, I'm not saying that you don't stick with the PER. I mean, I'm just saying that Bondi brought up a question in there about Mannequin Smith. So, I mean, do we confer with them to see what they use to create the PER? And what are the steps if we were to make a district? I know Bondi gives us all, she lays this out, we can do this, we can do this, we can do this, but are those the steps in that order that we need to take? That's the question, and that's the question that Barb raised. Are those steps, those are not the steps that you need to do that. So,
Well, she's got a procedure for creation of a special assessment district pursuant to Public Act 188 of 1954 is amended. And she goes in steps. Creation of a special assessment district may be initiated by any steps of 1, 2, 3, or 4. Number 1, Township Board may by resolution initiate procedure for creation of special assessment district for storm and sanitary sewers, water systems, public parks, elevated footbridges, garbage and rubbish collection, erosion control, structures or dikes, trees, lighting systems, aquatic weed and plant control, etc. See Act 188 1954 is amended for authorized types of improvement attached as Exhibit 1. And under it's 1A, if record owners of more than 20% of the total land area file written objections at or before the hearing of necessity, the Township Board cannot proceed with its resolution initiating the procedure unless a citizen petition of record property owners of more than 50% of the total land area in the special assessment district is filed. And number 2, so we can do either 1, 2, 3, or 4. Number 2 is the Township Board may by resolution initiate action for creation of special assessment district for public roads, bicycle paths, sidewalks, private roads, etc. See Exhibit 1 for authorized types of improvements. 2A, if record property owners of more than 20% of the total frontage along the proposed improvement file written objections at or before the hearing of necessity, the Township Board cannot proceed with this resolution initiating the procedure unless a citizen petition of record property owners of more than 50% of the total frontage along the proposed improvement is filed. Or number 3, upon receipt of petition for creation of special assessment district for storm and sanitary sewers, water systems, public parks, elevated footbridges, garbage and rubbish collection, erosion control, structures of dikes, trees, lighting systems, aquatic weed and plant control signed by record owners of land constituting more than 50% of total land area in the special assessment district, it is desires to proceed, the Township Board may cause plans and cost estimates to be prepared. See sample petition attached, Exhibit 2. Or number 4, upon receipt of petition for creation of special assessment district for public roads, bicycle paths, sidewalks, or private roads signed by record owners of land constituting more than 50% of the total frontage upon the road, bike path, or sidewalk. Township Board, if it desires to proceed, may cause plans and estimates of costs to be prepared. Number 5, the Township Board must adopt a resolution tentatively declaring its intent to create a district and must schedule a public hearing to hear objections of creating of special assessment district to the petition if filed and to the project and cost estimate for the district. See sample resolution of intent attached as Exhibit 3. Notice of public hearing must be sent first-class mail at least 10 days prior to the hearing to every record property owner within the proposed district. See sample notice attached as Exhibit 4, which should be revised to reflect whether creation of district was initiated by petition or by resolution of the board. Please also note that pursuant to Public Act 331 of 2000, which took effect December 14, 2000, any public notice of hearing which discusses the district by listing property identification numbers must also provide either the individual property identification number for each parcel or sequential set of identification numbers. Further, such notice must include either a map depicting the area of the proposed special assessment district or a written description of the proposed district. The township clerk shall prepare and keep, and this just goes on to tell you how you go about doing it if you do, once you just do the district, you know, as far as the public hearing and all that.
But from what I've understand, the PER is already set a district in there for the whole entire township, correct?
I know they got the PR for the grant. The PR was used, that map for the grant, yes. I don't know.
So what I want to try to do is stick to whatever that is and not go off that and change that.
Well,
So this one, I think this is the one.
Is that the majority of the township who can get water?
according to the PER, the map that they gave would provide water to the majority of the township.
So it's got to be figure 1.2,
Okay.
because there's another one in here. It's just the township itself. So 1.2, I thought there was another map in here.
And there, if there's a PER there, why would we have two different maps in there then? That's not from what I understood and I was reading it. And from what I gathered, the PER has got majority of the township.
That's not loading very well. My bandwidth sucks. Come on, load. It's got to be this one. Let's see, this is proposed project recommended alternative. So there is an alternative in here. No, I'd seen an alternative. There's this one, figure E2. Where's 1.2 then? Topographical map. 12-inch, 8-inch. So figure E2, this one I have up on the screen, provides the lowest present day cost for the township. So that's that one. What's this one down here? It's been a while since I've looked at it.
Sent back to us on the 28th, of what's in the grant application, the grant application package. I can forward that to you so you can pull it up on the screen.
Yeah, because it might be in my township.org one and I can't get to it here.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. I can, if I had your email that you're looking at, I can send it over.
London clerk at comcast.net. I don't have the other one. I don't have Outlook on this one and I can't access my computer at the office.
Oops. Okay. .net.
Yes.
It's on its way.
Okay. There's a
'Cause
question.
this
from
is
Barb.
because this is actually all the grant application right here. I mean, this
Probably in the other one.
is what the grant's being written off of, what the board approved last month.
Okay, well, and it might have gone to my londontownship.org because the water, it's got to be in that one. It's not in the Comcast one. But there was a response from Barb. Why don't we just let her talk? She said, because she's saying, Lisa, you are suggesting that the township initiate and proceed without signatures from residents. That's how boards and districts on their own. Why do members of the board have an issue with residents developing their own water district? So I'm going to go ahead and just unmute Barb. She has more information than I think all of us.
Okay, can everybody hear me?
I can hear you.
Yes.
Okay, so yes, boards have the right to initiate special assessment districts. You can do that. If you do that, then nobody has to get any signatures. It means that the board has taken it upon themselves to implement an improvement. So one of the first things you have to do is contact the attorney, because the attorney will draw up the correct motion that you will have to pass, resolution, saying that you're going to start developing a water district. Then you have to get with the attorneys and Manic, and you have to get with the assessors, and you have to make a list of every single property that's in that district. You have to determine how much it's going to cost every single person in that district, or every single property. You have to put that in a letter, and you have to send it to every single person in US mail. You have to schedule the first meeting. Up until the end of the first meeting, if 21% of the property owners in the district that you're designing, in that list of property owners, come forward with objections, then you can't go any further. They stop you as a board. They stop you. Then you have to go out and get signatures from 51% of the landmass owners that override the objections in order for you as a board to move forward with development of your district. So when you say things like, we just want to stick with what's in the PER, there's a disconnect for me. The PER is just an engineering report. It's not a district. A district was never started by any person, any group, or the board. It was just an engineering report to see what it would cost to get water, how many people you could get water to. They were given direction. They were told, try to keep the cost under $25,000 and get water to as many people as you can. So they did their job. But it was never a
Who
formal.
gave that direction for the PER?
Pardon me?
Who gave that direction to get it to where it was?
The previous board. I mean, Penny was at herself in some of the meetings when they brought some maps in, and she said herself, well, we got to get water over here. We got to get it to these people. We can't just get it to these people and not these people. So it kept getting bigger. And then they came back to the board and it was like around 30,000. And then you know, Gary, I know there was conversation between Gary and them. I don't know who else he talked to. It said, you know, give it to everybody, as many as you can, but keep it under 25. And that's what they did. But it's an engineering report. There was the development of a special assessment district is done by law, and you have to follow every step of that law. If the board wants to try to initiate a special assessment district, you're more than welcome to do so. That would be wonderful. But you're going to spend money from the get-go, because like I said, you just got to go through all the things that I just mentioned before you can even start to develop a district. But my other question, so in most cases and all around us, the majority of the districts are developed because there are people who want water. And usually there are people that live on a stretch of road adjacent to a water main. And usually it's only 20 houses or 30 houses. And the residents just get together and say, hey, everybody sign a petition. And then they give it to the board, and the board says, okay, you want water, now the board has to act in administrative capacity and find out how much it costs and come back and say, tell the people you wanted water, here's what it'll cost. Oh, and here's the formal petition that you need to use that was written up by the attorney that has the locations on it. And then the residents get those signatures. And then they bring them back to the board. And then the board says, oh shit, you did it. You're willing to do it. You're willing to pay for it. Okay, go to the next step. And they schedule the first hearing. At that point, they already have the 51% signatures. So the objections never come into play as long as the 51% signatures hold until the end of the first public hearing. So my question is, why does anybody that's on the board take issue with residents trying to get water to their homes? I'm at a complete loss for this. I'm serious. Okay, so then why is there such an issue from some members of the board with regards to the PER and trying to force the residents to get signatures from 800 properties owners, many of which don't even want water? Why would the board do that? Because I don't understand that logic either. Okay.
What was your second question, Barb?
It keeps coming up on Facebook as well as in this meeting now that that members of the board want us to, and members of the public want me to be forced to make a district that matches what's in the PER. There's people, there's roads full of people in the PER that are in that PER report that don't want water. Why?
Why do we fill out a PR for that the right district? And why do we fill out a grant on a PR that somebody wants to change?
So when the requirement for the grant, there's requirements when you submit the application for the grant that says, we just want to know, like, what are you going to do? How much is it going to cost? How many people is it going to impact? And they use that kind of information to make sure that you have some kind of plan. And you're not just sending them, hey, send us some money. We don't know what we're going to do with it.
But when you ask for money from the government that you don't have to pay back, you can't go back and change anything.
No, you can't.
Otherwise, you just misled the government.
No, this is what. So Manic already talked to Eagle about this. And every time they get a grant, every time anybody gets a grant, this happens. The government, when you apply for the grant, Eagle does not expect you to already have a formal district in place. If you did, you probably wouldn't need the grant because everybody already signed the petitions and agreed to pay, right? So what they do is they say, give us some kind of plan of what you want to do. Now, they're not going to release any money until they won't release any money to pay for anything until the construction's done. The construction can't be done until you form a district, right? So you don't get the money. The money just sits with Eagle. And then the communities go out and develop these special assessment districts legally. When they're finalized, then they go to Eagle and say, okay, here's all our paperwork. We finalized the district. Everything's finished. We're going out for construction bids. Okay, we built the first road to water main. Here comes the bill. You send it to Eagle. Eagle pays the bill. Now, if those districts don't match their initial submission, it's okay. You just put a change, the engineers just put a change into Eagle that says, well, okay, we weren't able to get the whole, whatever it is, I don't know what it is. Let's just say we weren't able to get the whole 15 miles of water main, but we were able to create a district for 8 miles of water main. So here's the revised plan. It still goes towards our initial objective of getting water to people who want it and need it. And Eagle just stamps it and says, okay, that's fine, go ahead. So they work on these administrative changes all the time. All the communities do this. I think it would be a rarity for somebody to submit something. You only get like 60 days to create this application. Nobody can even get all that work done in 60 days. So, and they're not expected to. They're just expected to submit a plan that says here's approximately here's what we want to do. We know what we want to do and we have a reason why we want to do it. In our case, it just so happened by coincidence that we had a PER prepared last year. So Manic said, hey, if you'll let us use the PER that we already prepared, we'll just fill out this application for you and we won't charge you because we already did all this work. So it was lucky and fortunate on our part that that happened. If we didn't have the PER, you still could have applied for the grant, but you would have had to pay for some engineering work to do something similar to the PER that says, where can we put water? How much will it cost? How many people will be impacted? Just to get the application in.
Barb, I have another question. If this is a citizens initiative, and I know you've done a ton of work on this and I commend you for it. If this is a citizens initiative and you, citizen, and everybody else that would want water, you've done, met with Manic and all that, what do you need the township board for? What's the township board's role in this whole scenario? If it's not up to us to create a water district, or if we want to create one, we've got to go through all the steps that you mentioned. What do you need us for? Or do you need us?
Actually, she needs us to actually talk with the Manic and Smith and the Eagle, because there was never an ad hoc committee actually performed. She has to actually come to the board with saying, hey, this is our wants, wishes, this is our update, kind of stuff. This is what we're looking at, all that. And then the board relays it back to our lawyers and Manic and Smith.
Barb?
So according to the law, if 51% of the landmass owners in some area, so if the residents get together and come up with a land area and 51% of them or more sign the petitions, and I bring them to the board, they're informal, unofficial petitions, and I bring them to the board. Now, according to the law, the board has to look at those petitions and say, oh, you're right, check them. Yep, they did sign these petitions. What's our responsibility? Well, now, according to the law, the board has a responsibility to verify the costs, verify that they did get the 51%, right? And write up the formal petition and give it back to the people, and the people take the formal petition and then they go get it signed. When we bring that back, then the board has a responsibility to schedule the first public hearing, send out the mail, notify all the people in that area. Hey, you wanted water, you got to follow the law. The same thing, same process. You got to go to, as if the board, whether the board initiates it or the residents initiate it, the law is the same. It just gives you the option for the public to initiate it or for the board to initiate it. You still have to do the entire process.
According to the PER, an option the board has, though, if we feel it's a burden on anybody in that water district, we can turn it down. Am I correct?
Law? Yes, according to the law, if you're not satisfied with the petitions, the 51% doesn't automatically mean there's a district. That's why you have the first public hearing. So that's why you have to send letters to all the people and tell them what the cost is, whether they want it or not, everybody who's impacted. That's why you have to have the first public hearing, so that all those people can come to the first public hearing. They can ask questions, they can change their mind. You can listen to them complain or say you're great or whatever. Then if at the end of that hearing, there's still 51% and you're satisfied that the majority of the people want water and it's the right thing to do, then you pass a resolution to create the district. But if somebody did something really, I'm not sure what word to use, but unethical, like coming in and saying, well, I have 51% of the land mass, but there's like 20 houses and only 2 people signed. If I was on the board, I wouldn't go through with the district either. Because what the public would have been doing is allowing people with large pieces of land to override the smaller parcels who, didn't want the water. That's not right. And
But
nobody's.
it does go by acreage, correct?
The law says that it goes by acreage. Yes.
So if somebody's got 80 acres and you got 8 people that got 10 acres, you wash each other out. So
Yeah.
that person with 80 acres is going to dictate to 8 other people that they, am I
That's
right?
one of the reasons why the board can say, no, that's why, like Mike said, the board has the ability to put I don't know if it's a statute in motion or something in place. You have to talk to the attorney where the board could say, okay, well, instead of 51%, we want 55%. Or the board could just say, this just doesn't make sense. You're talking about 2 people that want water out of 10. We're not going to form a district like this, right? But nobody's going to do that. I mean,
Yeah, the thing is the township sends out, the township sends out the legal, but the township sends out the legal petitions, not the residents circulating the legal petitions.
no, the township attorney usually prepares the petition because the formal petition has to include the locations. So the formal petition has to say from this corner to this corner, from this
Correct.
road to that road, or have a list of all the things. And then the
Right.
residents can take those out. The residents take those out and get the
No,
signatures.
the township sends it out.
The township,
No, the township sends them out.
the township sends a letter.
No, because then they send them back because they're postmarked. The letters are postmarked out.
Well, the law
Uh,
doesn't require that.
All right, we could go on all night about this. Lisa, what I want you to do, since you brought this up, is get a hold of Bondi and find out what the steps are, what the procedures are. What happens if we do a district according to the PER, so that we can get all our ducks in a row and find out. I mean, I know Barb's very knowledgeable on it, but we need to get a legal opinion before we go any further.
That's fine. I can do that. I do have a question for Barb though, but Barb, are you trying to change the PER, the district that you want if we get the grant money?
So even if we got $5 million, Lisa, if we tried to implement an $18 million project, which is what is included in the PER, and we only took $5 million off of that for the grant, the assessments would still be over $17,000. And there would be a lot of people in there that didn't want water at all. So it doesn't make any sense to use the district or the map.
So what you're saying to me is you want to change some things if the grant gets through.
I'm struggling with change. I'm not changing anything because there was never a district in the first place. There was an engineering report.
Right, there's an engineering report, but I'm thinking that's what since you're so concerned about us doing a district and making these changes, because that's what you just jumped on this meeting about, I'm just concerned that there's going to be some changes, and I'm just wanting to make sure that there doesn't get no changes, but we're going to table this. I will talk to the attorney myself, and I will figure this out.
Why does it concern you? What are you concerned about?
I'm concerned about all the other residents. It's not just my concern, Barb. That's why we're here as a board as 5 people to get all the facts, and I just don't think we're getting all the facts.
Okay.
There's just something that's off. So Penny, you're right. We should just table this. I'll get more information.
Yeah, I mean, I would like to get water to as many people as we can, but
Exactly. And if we're going to do this, because otherwise it'll be more expensive later on if someone decides they want to change the district or add on to it. So
it won't be more expensive.
Yes, it will. That's why
you might want to reach out to Manic too, Lisa, and maybe we can do a meeting with Manic and the attorney all as a board, do a meeting. I mean, I know we have to do it publicly, and get some answers.
All right, that's fine. That sounds good.
I know a lot of you are new and not aware of the water, how it works and what goes on, but so we can table this and get some more information if you like.
I'll make that motion, Penny. We table this to give Lisa an opportunity to gather up as much information as she can.
Okay, moved by Nichols. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
I'll second that.
Okay, moved by Nichols, seconded by Moore to table until Lisa can get some more information.
Just say, anybody, Lisa, just, don't hesitate to give me a call so we don't have to take up the whole meeting time or anything. I'd be happy to go through the law step by step, and discuss why I'm doing what I'm doing more so that you understand more too. I'm not trying to screw anybody. I'm trying to get water to as many people as possible, but we can't do it for 17,000.
But a lot of people don't want water, Barb, and you have an advantage of the situation. So I'd like to talk to someone who doesn't have a big interest in this, but I understand your concern. I appreciate that. If I do have any questions, I will reach out to you.
Yeah, so
There's a motion on the floor.
Yes, there is a motion on the floor.
I'm sorry, I thought you were done.
Okay, it was moved by Nichols, seconded by Moore to table until Lisa can get more information on the water district. And we can do a roll call.
All right, Supervisor Penny Turner,
Yes.
Clerk Sharp, yes. Treasurer Lisa Moore,
Yes,
Trustee Daryl Nichols,
Yes.
and Trustee Mike Pankowski.
Yes.
Okay, moving on to new business. Number one, approval of attorney court cases. I think we got an email from Ryan. on this.
Yep. It was included with the ZA report.
Yeah, let me get back to that.
Now, do you want me to go through instance by instance? I do have a concern over the rights of anonymity of the property owners. Or,
Can you do it just by road?
yeah, I could, well, I can with the one, I can't with a special land use. Well, I mean, I can do my best with the first one. So in over 2 years of being the code enforcement and zoning, 2 years since the last time I had to go to court for a case with getting a lot of compliance and violations rectified through communication and not just coming off as a strong arm jerk, I guess. I'm getting to some that will not comply, are repeat violators, and communications have just failed. As you read in the report, and using the tools that we have available to make sure we gain compliance and not relent into the ordinance, and the enforcement of the ordinance is something we should do. So I guess going forward, if every time I have to bring a case, this is the format, I'll do everything I can to protect anonymity. But remember, I just need a preponderance of the evidence to bring a case if they don't comply or start a case. And they're innocent until proven guilty. So it's kind of awkward for me to say it openly, but I'll do my best. The first violation is of extractive operating hours, 5604, section B, subsection 1, at an extraction on Allison Road. This is the fourth violation of operating hours at that special land use. The latest one that is leading to the court action is from January 18th, which was a legal holiday. They've been warned on several other occasions, and it keeps occurring. The contractor there has been rather good with taking care of violations in a lot of times, or taking care of violations within a good time period. This one's a repeat offense, and I'm sure it would probably happen again, and we should exercise our authority to prevent that and do what we need to do as far as our ordinance and section 1.09, which is the penalties and the fees. So I'd like approval to take that contractor to court over the operating hours. In conversation, he's admitted to doing it. There's proof on Facebook, and you have residents that will testify. There's people that know that there was an operation that day because they've seen it. Some of the board members, I believe, may actually be aware of that as well. The second violation, and most of these include blight, this one is really kind of specifically blight, is Tuttle Hill, uninhabitable structures, vehicles presumed inoperable, visibly no plates, junk, trash, rubbish, structures with no permits, and this is another repeat violation. This person has already been taken to court in the past. They were violated at the start of the pandemic, which what I called a soft enforcement. It was just letting them know there was a violation, and they took steps to rectify it. And then the progress just stopped. And they've ignored the last notice. The other one is property across on the southwest side of Kevin Butson Recycling. You have a large vacant property, and you can only really see this when it's the leaves have fallen. There's a rotted out camper. It's fallen apart. There's sheds, mounds of debris, junk, trash, rubbish, and tires all over. They've received 3 violation notice, and unfortunately, the property owners live in Florida. There's the brick structure that fallen down and has become uninhabitable and not able to be used on Plank Road near Allison. Property owner received the first enforcement in December, came in and agreed to pull a demo permit if he had received just a couple more weeks leeway. I gave him a couple weeks. He had until January 14th to come pull the demo permit. Has not come and pulled the demo permit, made no attempt to communicate, and has not responded to the second and final notice. Property at the corner of Townsend and Allison is not only blight, it's an unpermitted fence, unpermitted structures, violation of parking standards, which are campers and trailers in the front yard, which is awkward for him because he has a corner lot, therefore he has 2 front yards. Inoperable unregistered cars parked in the woods on that parcel. Several notices have been sent and no longer acknowledging or communicating with me. We have the property on Tuttle Hill that's been addressed before openly behind Miss Henley and next to Miss Habick. Light unpermitted structures. They've been living in a camper. Began enforcement this case prior to the pandemic, then came a moratorium on evictions. Finally, the property owner had a court date to evict those living in the camper, and the case was dismissed without order of eviction, and have been unable to communicate with the property owner since December of 2020, and he has not responded to the final notice. So those are the ones I'm asking for approval for Carrie Bondi to enforce in the Circuit Court of Monroe County. I have a few other ones that I'm really feeling will be here at the same point next month, but I'm still going to work with them and see and give them a little more time to see what we can do to get them in compliant.
So you're asking for approval then to pursue these in court?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Any comments from the board?
Penny, I have just one comment. And I know it's in regards to the extraction or pond or whatever. At our planning commission meeting last Monday, and I say this to get to a different point. I asked Ag Industries if they had worked on Martin Luther King Day, and they told me yes, they did. So I can tell you that being in construction for almost 40 years, that if you don't work, you don't get paid. The holidays that we take are Christmas, 4th of July, Labor Day, Memorial Day, Thanksgiving. And a lot of the trades take Veterans Day the day after Thanksgiving. That's when it's observed for us. So in our book, it says that loading or removal of excavated materials shall be prohibited on Sundays or legal holidays. I think that language needs to be tightened up to spell out the holidays so there's no confusion And if we can, cut some of the, going to court over something when the legal holidays aren't spelled out, I think it would be in everybody's interest to do that. And that's the point that I really want to make is, since we're going to be working on these ordinances, those legal holidays should probably be spelled out, so
Well,
that's all I'm trying to say.
I have added the MCL. It's Act 124 of 1865, which has obviously been amended for holidays that were made after the fact. I have included those into both amendments. So those will be in both amendments. If we spell out everything and define everything in an ordinance without having a book of definitions or some legal statutes to guide people to for information, we'd have a 1,000-page ordinance in a small town.
I'm not asking to do that, Ron. I'm just asking to spell out legal holidays. That's a little, I guess, a gray area for me. I just give you the legal holidays we have in construction. So it's Christmas, Thanksgiving, Memorial Day, Labor Day, 4th of July.
So you don't,
I've worked on Easter. So some people might think that Easter's a legal holiday, That's
Well,
a
legal
fact.
holidays is the legal
So I'm
holidays.
saying there's only 10 legal holidays. That's it. So if I see Sundays or legal holidays, and I take legal holidays out of that equation and add 8 more words to it, that's what I would like to do. So, I just want it spelled out. I want to cut out any gray area in any ordinance I can. I've been working on these pond ordinances for years. And for one individual, it gets a little old after a while, month after month after month after month. And if I can nip something before it becomes an issue, that's exactly what I want to do. And legal holidays does not do it for me. I'm going to be quite honest with you. That is a gray area that I would like to see changed. So since they're going back before the planning commission, I'm going to do everything that I possibly can to at least have that defined and not have a gray area. Because the more definition that you can have in an ordinance, the better off everybody is. It doesn't leave it to anybody's opinion. That's all I'm saying. So that's what I'm going to look to do. I would like to define some of these gray areas. And since they're going to come back before the planning commission, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to go to work on that.
all right, Ron, I have a question. You said that violations occurred previously on July 24th, 25th, and October 18th. What were those? Were they legal holidays or?
He started well before 7 o'clock in the morning. And the one he was about 20 or 30 minutes late, and that was more or less just a verbal warning.
So the other 3 were all verbal warnings?
No, they were all actually written, but the one that was for operating about 25 minutes after noon on Saturday was written, but it was written, followed up with a written warning after a verbal warning. Hey, you got to stop. And he stopped, and that was it.
Okay.
And in regards to Ag Industries also said at that meeting, they may have been working on a legal holiday, but not in London Township. And I have no authority over Dundee Township and how they enforce or whatever's in their ordinance.
But this is what I'm saying, Ron. I want to make sure that everybody understands what holidays are covered. Because like I said in the beginning, I've been in construction for close to 40 years. And I can tell you, legal holidays, we got 4 or 5. That's it. And I named them off twice at least. So I want to define what those legal holidays are, and I'm going to go to work on that. And yes, Ag Industries worked on Martin Luther King Day. And I'll bet you they'll be working coming up on some of these other ones. I want to define those days.
They'll get violated. And the legal holidays are defined by state statute. So as long as they're written in the ordinance is what's defined by state statute.
Okay. Any other discussion? All right, do we want to do these individually or do we want to do them all as one?
Sweep them all up in one.
Okay. I'm trying to get it back. I'm trying to get my email back because I got it by email. So there is a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different cases. Looks like one's just operation hours and the rest look like they're blight, mainly blight. Okay, what's the board's pleasure? I know Martin Luther King is a federal holiday, but
Most people don't get Martin Luther King off unless you're a government, a school. Most people work it.
yeah.
I do, but our ordinance.
I
is
work it.
clear.
I need a motion.
You made the motion, Jenny?
No, I need a motion. I need to entertain a motion. I explain.
I'll make the motion.
What's your motion?
I'll make the motion. I'll make the motion that we pursue what we need to do for Ron to recoup the money on the fines that he has brought before us.
Okay. Do I have a second?
I'll
What was
second it.
What was the motion? I didn't hear you were breaking up.
Darryl,
His
you wanna
motion was to let Ron, pursue the violations and to recoup the money and to take them up to court.
Well, the ordinance
what-
allows us to
Say?
recoup the money. The ordinance in section 1.09 allows us to pursue fees, fines, and penalties. The main thing is to get the compliance.
So your
need a
motion is to pursue the cases defined on his report.
For
Yep,
compliance in the circuit court of Monroe County. Or to allow Attorney Bondi to pursue them in court. I guess it could go either way. It just should be pretty clear so it's not debatable later.
Well, I need to
Alright.
know, how did you want, Daryl, you were the one who started this one, so motion to
That's
pursue
right.
cases defined in the report for compliance?
that's right.
Okay,
Yep.
and I'll second that.
And by the way, I do want to add, this is the worst part of this job. It's
What,
not
being the bad
easy.
guy?
Well, I'm a guy doing a job that makes people uncomfortable when they have to answer in court for a violation. Or we have to take somebody to court because of blight.
Well, if they would have fixed the problem, then they wouldn't be in court.
And I agree with you on that. But it's not easy.
I get it.
But it's what, if it's not me, it's somebody else doing it. It's somebody else taking somebody to court. If they
So we have a
refuse.
motion by Daryl and it was seconded by me. Do we want to do a roll call vote or are we, do we need to discuss this some more?
Roll call.
Okay. Supervisor Penny Turner,
Yes.
I will say yes. Clerk Kimberly Sharp, Treasurer Lisa Moore,
Yes.
Trustee Daryl Nichols,
Yes.
and Trustee Mike Pinkowski.
Yes.
Motion carries. Number 2, BSNA. Lisa, that's you?
Yep. In your packet, I gave you guys a copy of the proposal for a new software to be added to the BSNA for cash receipting. Michigan Treasury is actually pushing for the townships to have this. It actually keeps more accurate records. So I am making a motion for us to get this product for London Township.
What's the cost on that, Lisa?
$4,115.
Yep. And we can make payments. There's a payment schedule. The first payment would be $425. The second payment would be $19.90, and then it could be $19.40 on the third payment.
And this includes training, correct?
Yes.
Is that for everybody or just for you?
Nope. It would actually, this would benefit the Treasury Department, the Clerk Department, and also building.
Okay.
It's not just me.
And just for the record, we have BSNA software.
Yeah, we have the BSNA. This is just adding another feature that we should actually have, and other townships around the area do have this. And like I said, in my 7-hour class I took back in December, Michigan Treasury was actually pushing it. They never mentioned QuickBooks that we have. And by the way, QuickBooks that we do have has currently an error. And I know that Kim and I and Renee have all spent time doing the chat with these people. We can't get nobody on the phone to talk to us, which to me is not good service. And BSNA are absolutely fabulous to work with when you have questions. And they answer you within 15 minutes. Typically. I mean, that's what my experience is. So I really think it's a good asset to have this to the township. Like I said, it helps all departments. And it would keep more accurate records, I think.
Okay.
We use it in Augusta Township. It's an amazing program. Does your receipts, automatic receipts. You can run the report for your day for the ledger. You can have it different batches. So you could have your tax batch. And if you have any utilities that may come down the road, you could do that. Building department can scan their own receipts, process their own payment, submit a report to Treasury at the end of the day, and then Treasury just locks it up, takes it to the bank. Pretty simple.
Will the Huntington software interact with BSNA if you decided to move over to Huntington for everything?
I don't know that question, Kim. I can find out and let everybody know.
Okay. Well, I mean, I don't care. I mean, but it would make your life easier since you're the one running the checks.
Right. Or the cash that we currently have, yeah. I'll have to find out, but I'm not sure. I probably still have to take that stuff to the bank probably, but I'll find out. But this is just keeping our records because, you know, we bill the taxes in BSNA and then we actually receipt it in there, but it's like we have a secondary QuickBooks. I got to add everything back in there, and it doesn't make sense of why we're doing double the work. If I did it through BSNA, and we have the software attached to it, it automatically calculates that. And it also runs payroll.
What?
It works for me. I'm all for anything easier, not having to do things 2 or 3 times.
Exactly.
Dayton was fighting.
And I've seen this QuickBooks error before.
Kim, could you mute Clark?
Hit me.
I've muted him a couple of times.
Thank you. I make a motion to get the BSNA software at the cost of $4,115 with 3 installments.
Second that.
So your motion is to purchase the BSNA software?
Yep,
Yes.
that's $4,115, which can be made in 3 installments. And it's the cash receiving, if you need that, Kim. It's moved by Turner, seconded by Pinkowski to purchase cash receiving through BSNA for the amount of $4,115, which can be made in 3 installments.
All right. Okay, ready for your roll call votes?
Yes,
Supervisor Penny Turner,
yes,
Clerk Sharp, yes. Treasurer Lisa Moore,
Yes.
Trustee Daryl Nichols,
Yes.
Trustee Mike Pankowski,
Yes.
motion carried.
moving on, the maintenance man raise. I sent the email to everybody and I sent the, I asked Mr. Hughes for his credentials. He came to my office and said he needed to raise or wants a raise. Just for clarification for new board members, Mr. Hughes received a raise in October for $1.50. So he's now making $16.50 an hour. He wanted the board to be aware that he uses his own tools by performing the maintenance job for the township. And he also stated that he does a lot around the building. And he brought in his documentation for his reasoning for wanting to raise. Most of it looks like it's for through Ford's. One was an apprenticeship for millwright. And looks like this third one, powered material handling vehicle safety training program. And I'm not sure what, it looks like, I'm not sure what the third one was. Health and safety, it looks like. So he's requesting a raise to $18 from $16.50 to $18. And his reasons, like I said, is for his certificates. And he uses his own tools. And any discussion?
Well, I like Greg. I see the certificates. I don't exactly see how they relate to the maintenance position at the township, with the newest one being from,
97.
yeah, 97. And
What-
seeing as that he got a raise in October, I don't know that I feel justified in raising it to 18.
This should, he should have, all these credentials should have been, gave when he first applied for the job when he was hired, because that would have gave him a leg to stand on a little bit more to have higher than starting at $15 an hour
Well,
as well. But
I'm looking for my, we called around and $15 is actually pretty high for a maintenance person in the general area. I'm looking for my piece of paper that fell off. Finding too many cats. Now Milan Township never did call back. Bedford is the highest paid one, but they're a union shop and he makes $22.66 an hour. Ash Township is at $12.99 an hour. Raisinville Township is at $15 an hour. Summerfield doesn't seem to have one. Whiteford doesn't have one. And we were never able to get information from Berlin or Exeter. But if I can't use the union wage, so if I was to take $13 and $15 an hour and average them together, I'm sure we would be in the right range.
Yeah, he's $16.50 now.
So am I reading this correctly that he got a raise in October for $1.50? He was at $15. He got a raise for $1.50 to put him to $16.50 an hour. So he got a 10% raise in October?
Yes.
Is that what, is my math correct on that? A 10% raise?
He went from 15 to 16.50, yes.
I just wondered what the percentage was. It's 10% raise in October.
Well, I did the math just based on the information that I had. And I just, if you take the $12.99 and $15 and put them together, since I don't have any other information, the average for those is like $14 an hour. So $16.50 for part-time maintenance seems okay to me.
Can I speak?
Who is that?
Yes.
It's Greg.
Go ahead, Greg.
Well, first of all, I'd like to bring up this morning. I'm out there at 8 o'clock this morning with a below zero wind chill, blowing off the sidewalks with my own blower, using my own gas and oil. That was not part of the contract. I'm out there doing that to take care of the township. Nobody else is going to do that for you. I am on call 24 hours. I've dealt with the sewage coming out of the floors. I've dealt with the water in the back, 3 inches of water on the floor. I've dealt with the mold. I painted rooms. I put in toilets. I put in sinks. I put in all those LED lights in the building. So if you look at all that, I've saved you guys thousands and thousands of dollars.
Greg, I have a quick question.
And if I'm not worth, yes.
Now, I
Yes,
know
go ahead.
you contract for the snow removal. Does that not include salting the sidewalks, or is that not part of your contract for that? For the snow removal?
No, it was not part of the contract. I salt as the maintenance guy for the building, but I don't salt unless I'm asked for it.
Okay, is there anywhere, Kim, a description of what the job is for maintenance men, what they're expected to do, or?
I will look for one to see if we have that kind of a job description for the township, but I don't know that there's actually one that exists that I have run across.
Okay,
I'd also like to point out that I've been there 5 years. I hired in at $15. You guys have not paid me enough to keep up with the cost of living.
what do you average as far as monthly, the time that you put in, how many hours?
It depends on what needs to be done.
Okay, so it varies.
Right now, I'm not working on the extracurricular stuff. I'm just taking care of what needs to be taken care of, and I'm getting probably 10 hours a month.
Okay. Does the board have any other discussion?
So
Any
for,
questions?
Well,
I'm only allowed 20 hours a month. So the most you're going to pay me is $30 more.
well, all the things that Greg listed seem to fall under what a maintenance man is expected to do in his job description, I would say. I mean, I would be happy to see what Kim can come up with for a job description for a maintenance man in these other townships, but you know, Raisinville Township, he's 10% above those folks. And Ash Township, I don't know, he's probably closer to 15% at least, maybe 20. I haven't done the math on that, but I mean, if we're going to take a picture from a mile up in space and look at maintenance men from our area, I mean, with the exception of Bedford or whatever township that was, where the individuals at $22.
That's Bedford.
I mean, he's probably
You also
pretty
get
close
what you
to
pay for.
he's probably pretty close to the top of his
I'm
Hey, Ray.
nowhere near where I should be for being a skilled tradesman.
I'm looking for direction here. Do you want me to go and look and see what you want me to get more? Since I couldn't get any information from Berlin or Exeter or Milan, we table this? Should I get a description for a maintenance man from the other townships also? What do you guys want me to do?
Absolutely. I would love to see those. I mean, that's what we done for Anita and Ron. At least we looked, we done our due diligence, and we based our answer on the information that was gathered from the surrounding townships. And I believe that we at least need to do that for Greg as well, to survey the surrounding townships to gather that information. So what's in the job description? What are you've already got their hourly pay. If they could send that job description over, that would be great. You know, then at least we've got something to compare it to. You know, maybe Greg's way overworked and he's, you know, deserving of all kinds of stuff. But I mean, let's base that on an educated finding from surrounding areas.
Kim, could you also, when you're checking, see if they use their own materials, their own equipment, or does the township provide them with equipment, gas, etc.?
Okay. So we are tabling this until I get more information.
Please. Make a motion, we table this for Kim to get more information as far as job description for maintenance man, and I think we've already got comparables. And whether
Well,
they
I can
use,
see if I can get a couple other comparables to go along
Okay.
with it, because we do have there are only a couple of them that I can't use the union wages. That's just, it's too far out of scope.
okay, and also check to see like if they're on call, because he says he's on call. See if they have their maintenance men on call. If they don't use their own equipment, and do they provide like gas and equipment, or do
So
they-
give it to me
Does
one more
Greg
time.
have a
maybe
job
little more
description?
concise.
I make a motion to take
Second.
this for Kim to get a description of what the maintenance man job pertains. Get some more comparables from those that didn't respond. See if they use their own equipment and gas, or does a township provide that to them? And also see if they are on call, or if they have just set hours.
I second that, Penny.
Moved by Turner, seconded by Nichols.
Okay. Supervisor Penny Turner,
Yes.
Clerk Sharp, I'll vote yes. Treasurer Lisa Moore,
Yes.
Trustee Daryl Nichols,
Yes.
and Trustee Mike Pankowski.
Yes.
Motion carried. Next up,
Next up is assessor's raise. I sent everybody an email. Our assessor's requesting a 5% raise to do, he's almost done with the state level 3 advanced assessing certificate. He works 1 full day in the office and says he works evenings at home most weeks, depending on the season. January through March, he works 7 days a week as needed, then only work 1 day a week in April to decompress. So that Bob used to work 2 half days. And he would also like to keep the deputy appraiser that's there 3 days a week. That would make 3 days a week for somebody in the office. He says that he currently makes 27,000, but Kim, you said you found something different on that?
he says he makes 27.
That's what he said. He currently makes 27,000 now. He's asking for a 5% raise, which would bring him to 28,350.
Not what I got on his base salary when I did the math. See, and I can't look.
And he's also requesting that the part-time appraiser position continue to be a permanent position. The last board approved him to work 16 hours per week at a rate of $20 an hour. Considering the state requires assessors to inspect 20% of the properties in the township annually. There's about 400 parcels in our township that would equal 10 per week. Inspecting and updating records for 10 parcels takes a full day if you're good, and that's all you do. If you were full-time, you could do it, but we can't afford that, and I cannot do the field work and perform all other tasks that I'm responsible for as things are. So we need this temporary position at a bare minimum to meet state guidelines and provide our residents with a better level of service, meaning no more lost or delayed application, PTAs, PREs, enough office hours to be available to work with people and answer questions without rushing anyone. So far, they've got 6 to 7 sections left to finish to meet the state required field review, which is about 1/3 of the township, and each one takes about 2 weeks. So at the least, he will need the appraiser for at least the first half of the year to finish out the state requirement that we have to do. So those are 2 things on the table, and half year for the appraiser would be 8,000. If we made it a permanent full year position, that would go up to 15,000. So he's requesting a 5% raise, which he says now he's at 27,000, which would bring him to 28,350. And then he's requesting that the appraiser be a permanent position, which would go from 8,000 for a half year to 15,000. But I don't know where he's coming up with that, because that would be 16,000. If a half year is 8,000, the full year would be 16.
Do you have a copy of last year's budget
Penny?
handy, Penny?
I think I do. Yes, hold on.
Penny, is that that assistant, is that also an assessing clerk? Is that what he'd be labeled at?
Well,
That
right now
assistant?
it's labeled as I know that there was some discussion with the last board where Barry had called him an appraiser, and then there was some question about what he was doing. He's listed as an assistant assessor right now, and I have Barry's base pay on here, so because I think he's wrong in the amount that he gets per year.
Okay, last year, the audited amount for the assessor was 28,885, and we budgeted 33,000 for this year, for the 2021.
Okay.
Sounds like we overpaid him by 1,800.
So the actual, as of February, or actually as of the end of January, that we've spent so far in the assessing department is $26,873.41.
Okay. Well, when we called around, same thing again. I found an average, because a lot of don't have they have a full-time one. Like, of course, Bedford is the highest. Ash is next. Raisinville's next after that. So where they were annualized, I can only cut them in half. And I came up with an average for a part-time assessor at 26,422, which would be an average. So he says he's getting 27 now.
you've got him at 28,800.
Well, he told me he makes currently 27,000 and he wants a 5% raise, which would put him at 28,350.
I thought he made 25 though.
I don't know, that's the number he gave me.
Because if you take his pay on the report, the payroll report of $2,083.34, and you annualize that by 12, it comes to 25,000.
Okay, so I'm not sure how he come up with the figure then.
I'm not
So
sure.
he's a flat monthly salary, 28.34.
Yes, he's not hourly.
Okay.
How do most of the assessors in neighboring townships pay their assessors, Kim? Is it hourly?
It looks like a salary. Bedford Township is full-time, of course. They're a bigger township. They're at 62,000 a year, so I cut that to 31 for part-time. Ash Township is $48,000 per year, so I cut that in half because I couldn't do anything else to 24. Raisinville Township is $42,620 a year. It's kind of an odd amount. I cut that in half to 21,310 because it's part-time. And then Summerfield was already part-time, so I left that one alone at 27,600. And then Whiteford Township does it differently. They pay them $3,200 a month plus an additional $1,500 a month for the tax roll. So I annualized that and came up with 56,400 a year and divided that by 2 to come up with 28,200. So when I averaged those part-time rates, that's when I came up with 26,422.
Is there anybody that pays hourly? I didn't hear anything from Dundee.
No,
Now, a couple that I checked that were on MTA website, they pay by parcel. I just was scanning through some of the MTA stuff and somebody asked about it and they pay per parcel.
well, Whiteford also gives them an extra $1,000 a year because they're an employee, which doesn't make any sense to me, but okay.
Did you mention Exeter by chance, Kim?
Exeter did not give us any information and neither did Berlin.
I know what the assessor makes for Exeter.
What's
Okay.
that?
It's 25,000 for Exeter.
And that's full-time or part-time?
Part-time.
Okay.
I did leave messages where some people didn't call me back, just so you know.
What was the price, Lisa?
25 for Exeter.
Is that a salary, Lisa, or is that
It is a
a,
salary. Yep. It's a salary.
I think that would be easier than per parcel.
Well, yeah, he gets, we do the salary thing at London Township too. I can't imagine how confusing it has to be per parcel.
so I know Dundee hired somebody last year, Renius, Renius, Renius and Renius, it must be a firm. And it sounds like Carrie Bondi has worked with them. Maybe Carrie can give us some information on some assessors or at least point us into a direction. Because she definitely made that statement in their minutes that, you know, she had worked with them before. And the reason I ask about that assessing clerk, that's what Dundee had this individual labeled at. They hired her September 10th, or it was in the minutes from September 10th of 2019. Her
So
name's
are you
Sharon
talking the assessor
Kaywood.
or the clerk?
I'm talking both of them now. So Renius and Renius is who they use for an assessor. they hired an assessing clerk in 2019, which I don't know if that's an assistant assessor or what that individual does. But they hired her for $16 an hour, and she had 28 years of experience in the county, is what she came to the table with. So I know we're already paying our assistant $20 an hour. So, I mean, I would certainly like to do our due diligence on anything that somebody's requesting a raise or any of that. So, you know, I don't know how many of these places have assistants or what their certifications are, but you know, it certainly can be in the minutes on what individuals get paid. And I just happened to stumble across that stuff.
Loretta says the Rianis brothers used to be our assessors.
So, and I believe that Dundee Township hired them again in May of last year. So seems like Carrie's got a relationship with them. Bondi, our attorney. I'm just wondering what, you know, assistants get paid and what these other assessors, and it seems like from what you've gathered so far, Kim, I mean, we're right there.
But he's asking though to see, not only as his race, so he's asking to have the assistant to be a permanent, not just a, like this would be a permanent position, right? He's not asking for him to have a raise, right?
Right, just ask
Right.
to make it a permanent position. And
Okay,
yeah, and then the rate of $20 an hour. And the average is 16 hours a week. He was approved to work 16 hours a week at a rate of 20 hours by the previous board. Or at a rate of $20 an hour, I'm sorry.
And how many hours does our assessor work?
I know he's there on Fridays. Let me see if
he said in the email that he works evenings.
he works one full day in the office and works evenings at home most weeks, depending on the season.
Is he an assessor just for our township, or does he assess for other townships as well?
That I don't know.
I would be quite interested in finding that out.
Well, Barry is here. We can ask him.
Sure. If Barry's here, let's hear from him.
Well, I'm trying to unmute him. Hey, Barry. Hello? He might not, well, he looks like he's here. Maybe he stepped away from his computer.
Should we just table this? till we get more information?
Absolutely. I will make
Table
that motion
more
to
information
table
like the
this.
last one.
Absolutely, especially on the assessor's rates and how many township have permanent assessor assistants as well. And what they pay them.
And if they do field work, I mean, that's what this assistant does, is field work.
Well, I would assume that all assessors have to do some sort of field work because they have to go out there and physically see the property to assess it appropriately, I would assume.
No, I'm talking about the assistants. Do they actually go out and do the field work? Or are they just their secretary in the building? That would be my question, one of the questions so when you can't ask them about assistants, specify whether they do the field work in assessing.
Okay. We're getting kind of long on the tooth here, people. let's
Sorry.
get this motion. What is exactly again you want? You want to table it for
Yes,
more information?
yes.
Yep, more information on what the average assessor makes in this area. Also on whether or not our neighboring municipalities have assistant assessors. And if so, are those permanent jobs or on an as needed basis? You know, I don't know if somebody, you know, it's been here a lot longer than me can certainly speak to whether or not we've had an assessor with a permanent assistant. I can't.
Well, I know that Barry was Bob's assistant. And I think he was there on a regular basis.
Did
Yeah,
Bob
but-
used to work? Did Bob used to work for Dundee
Yes, and so did Barry.
Township?
Yeah,
Was Barry Bob's assistant in Dundee?
Okay, Barry's mic says his mic won't activate. He's on remote.
Okay.
He says that's mostly what they do, field work. Yep. So the assistant does most of the field work. So that's the gopher or the grunt person, and the assessor does some other stuff in the background.
Well, I've made a motion, so
Yeah. So I'm just letting you know what he put on there. So you made the motion, Daryl Nichols,
yep.
and nobody seconded it yet?
I'll second it.
All right. Okay. So we will go for the roll call vote. Trustee Michael Pankowski,
Yes.
trustee Daryl Nichols,
Yes.
treasurer Lisa Moore,
Yes,
clerk Sharp, yes. Trust supervisor Penny Turner.
Yes. Moving on, number 5, LMR budget adoption. I attended the LMR meeting. They approved their budget. They just need us to approve it. Projected budget is $240,150. So I need a motion to approve LMR's fire department budget.
I'll make a motion to approve the budget.
I'll second.
Alamar's budget.
Moved by Moore, seconded by Pinkowski to approve the LMR budget in the amount of $240,150.
Who made the motion?
Lisa
I did.
Who seconded?
Pinkowski.
All right. Supervisor Penny Turner,
Yes.
treasurer Lisa Moore,
Yes,
trustee Daryl Nichols,
Yes.
pardon me, trustee Michael Pankowski,
Yes.
and clerk Sharp, yes, motion carried.
Number 6, classes for deputy clerk.
Okay, that's me. There are 3 classes. This is all for the planning commission. There's 3 classes that I would like to take at $225. There's also 5 books, and well, a couple are pamphlets for $102, which is $327. However, there was a class that I could not take last year because of the restrictions. So I do have a credit of $100. So it would total $227.
And this is for the planning commission?
Yes.
Now, do you know if there's any type of group rate that you can get? Because I know there's other new members that could probably use some of this training.
I did not see anything about group rates. It just had members rates, which I am a member, and non-member. That's all it has.
And that's through MTA?
No, this one is through the Michigan Association of Planning.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't have the sheet, so I have no information on this one.
One is for site plan review, master planning, and planning and zoning essentials. Most of them are 2-day, a couple hour a day classes, and then there's 5 booklets. I would like to get all for planning commission work, site plan review, managing risk, planning commission toolkit, planning commission, and yeah, I think that was it.
Now, these books, Anita, is that something you could copy and give to the planning commission members?
Well, that I don't know if it's copyrighted, but it's the township's property, so anybody could use them. But I don't know about copying them. That I would have to see if it's copyrighted.
Because I really would like to get some of the other planning commission members some training also, especially the new ones.
Well, there's some classes that aren't starting. Some are in March. The ones I would like to take are in March. Actually, I just have my pamphlet. The other ones are towards the end of March, that if any of the other planning commissioners wanted to, they could take it March 23rd, 24th. Oh, that's the only one. That's for the planning and zoning essentials, but that would be like a basic one.
Okay. So what's the total? You said it's 225 for the class.
27 total.
Well, yeah, 227 altogether because I had a credit of $100 from last year.
And that includes the books.
Correct.
Okay. All right, I make a motion to approve the class for the deputy clerk regarding the planning commission training at a cost of $225.
I'll second that.
Thank you.
Anita, could you get me that information? Because I'd like to research more. I
Oh,
know
absolutely. Yep.
one other member. I think most everybody else is seasoned that I reappointed or appointed.
Okay.
I think there's one more that could probably use it.
Yep, I'll send it to you tonight.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. And thank
And
you.
those are all great classes.
And you made the motion, Penny, and Daryl seconded?
Yes.
Yep.
So moved by Turner, seconded by Nichols to approve class for the deputy clerk regarding the planning commission at the amount of $225.
227.
I'm sorry, 227.
Right. Number 6. Okay. Roll call vote. I will use myself first. Clerk Kimberly Sharp, yes. Treasurer Lisa Moore.
Yes.
Trustee Daryl Nichols.
Yes.
Trustee Michael Pinkowski. Trustee Michael Pinkowski.
Yes, I didn't hear you.
Supervisor Penny Turner.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Number 7, planning commission secretary. I think Daryl, you wanted this?
Yeah, we, the planning commission, you know, every year it does the, election of officers. So the chair, the vice chair, the secretary, and for the last, I don't know, 3-4 years, I would imagine, Leroy has been the secretary, or at least 2 or 3. Leroy did not want to take the responsibility to do the minutes or any of the paperwork really involved. Amanda was put on as the secretary by the board. So she's been our secretary for the last couple of years. The elections this year, we elected a new chair, which is Dan Cable, a new vice chair, which is Doug Darling, and the new secretary is Anita. And I know we've got two people elected. Well, we've got two people that are doing the minutes, or we've got one that's elected that's not doing them. We've got one that we're paying extra to do them. So I know that the planning commission would like to get this cleared up and just have our elected secretary to do the minutes and whatever other ordinances or paperwork that's required of a secretary. So we just make it as simple as possible and have the one. So that's what's on the table right there, Supervisor Turner. And if you got any other questions, I guess I can try to answer them.
All right.
The
Now,
planning
I know-
commission has got an elected secretary that wants to fulfill her duties.
And you're gonna keep, what's the pay? I mean, I know we pay,
The recording secretary is normally 50.
okay,
Yeah. Yeah, that's what it is. I think she gets $5 extra a month is what it is
okay.
Yep.
over the planning commission members.
And
I'm
what are
not
we,
sure what Amanda got to do the minutes and the other stuff.
Same 50.
Can I
So-
answer that question?
Sure.
Okay, so the chairman, the vice chairman, the secretary, and the recording secretary all got $50. The recording secretary, I got $50 to sit through endless 3-hour meetings and sit through them again doing the minutes. $50 for all of it. And then the rest of the planning commission members get $45.
okay, so the chair, vice chair, and secretary get 50. All right, Daryl, do you want to entertain a motion?
Yep, I'll make the motion that we keep Anita, her elected position as the recording secretary for the planning commission, and we get rid of Amanda that we no longer need, since we have a recording secretary that's gonna fulfill those duties.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, moved by Nichols, seconded by Moore to keep Anita as the recording secretary. And we no longer need Amanda, is what you said, as the recording
Yep.
secretary.
Secretary.
Right, we've got two of them.
So that would save us $50.
Yep,
And Anita's okay with that?
she's on here, she can speak for herself, I would imagine.
Yes,
I've
I'm sorry,
talked to
I
her.
just couldn't, yes, I'm fine with that. But I'm just wondering, because I do know that Amanda did work really hard this past Monday because of the planning commission. I know because she is very good at what she does. She's helped me out a lot in the past. That I know she's taken notes and stuff, and I'm just wondering, because she has already put in the time, if she would still do the February minutes from the planning commission. At least that's my thoughts.
Yeah,
All right, so don't make it active until March?
Sure,
If,
I'm good with that.
if Amanda's willing also. I mean, I know she has put in the time already because she was there for the whole meeting. And again, I know her, she has taken really good notes already.
I appreciate that, Anita. And yes, I will take care of the minutes as they are already almost done.
Yeah, that's what I figured. I figured it was.
So do you want me to amend the motion to make it effective for March?
Yes,
So we're keeping Anita as recording secretary, we're moving Amanda as recording secretary effective March. So she will
Yep.
do the minutes for February.
yep.
So we're ready to vote on that?
Who made okay, Daryl made the motion. Did we get a second? I think
Yeah,
Lisa.
we
said-
had Lisa seconded it.
All right,
Supervisor Penny Turner,
yes.
Clerk Kimberly Sharp, yes. Treasurer Lisa Moore, yes. Sorry, just
Okay.
checking boxes now. Trustee Daryl Nichols,
Yes,
Yes.
sorry, thank you, Mike. I think early mornings are catching up to me.
Okay, so motion carried. Number 8, resolution to waive penalties for non-filing a property transfer. This mainly is a housekeeping issue. Prior board, I guess, had approved this in the past, but there never was a resolution passed. So we have a resolution to waive penalties for non-filing a property transfer affidavits pursuant to MCL 211.27B, whereas MCL 211.27A10 requires that the buyer, grantee, or other transferee of the property shall notify the appropriate assessing office in the local unit of government in which the property is located of the transfer of ownership of the property within 45 days of the transfer of ownership on a form prescribed by the state commission that states the parties to the transfer, the date of the transfer, the actual consideration for the transfer, and the property's parcel identification number or legal description. And whereas MCL 211.27B1 requires that if a buyer, grantee, or other transferee in the transfer of ownership of property does not notify the appropriate assessing office of the transfer, then penalties described in MCL 211.27B, 1C or D shall be levied. And whereas MCL 211.27B5 provides that the governing body of a local tax collecting unit may waive by resolution the penalty required to be levied under MCL 211.27B1C and 1D. Whereas the township wishes to waive the requirement to collect such fees as permitted by law, now therefore it be resolved that London Township hereby waives a penalty for failure to file property transfer affidavits following transfer of ownership pursuant to the local units authority contained in MCL 211.27B. Okay, I just need I make a motion that we approve the resolution to waive penalties for non-filing of property transfer affidavits pursuant to MCL 211.27B.
Why are we doing that?
Apparently it was approved in the past. And it was just, there was never a resolution passed. I don't know what the fees are. I don't know how much they are.
It's $5 a day up to $200. You can't go over $200 after the 45 days. It's a real estate deal. That's why I know this. And I'm just looking at this. This is money for us if they don't file in a matter of time. I mean, this is a very unique situation where if we okay this, we might be the only township in Monroe County that doesn't do this. We should actually be making sure they do actually get a penalty for not filing in the 45 or is it within 45? Oh, never mind. It's within 45.
45 days.
Yes. Never mind. I read that wrong. Sorry, I apologize.
Barry, do you have any comment on this? What, you do remember when it was passed or why it was passed?
His mic wasn't working.
Oh,
But I thought this was not a township. I thought this was a law by the state of Michigan.
apparently you must be able to waive it.
Yeah, you have to waive it by resolution. The law is you charge the fine unless you resolve to waive it. That's and it's on the AMAR, so we have to have something in place for that.
Okay.
We've never charged it before. We just have to resolve that we're not going to.
So it has to be done by resolution.
Yes.
Okay.
Any other comment from the board? Are we? Okay with waiving it? All right, I'll make a motion then on the table, resolution to waive penalties for non-filing of property transfer affidavits pursuant to MCL 211.27B. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, moved by Turner, seconded by Nichols. Roll call.
I'm still writing. All right. Trustee Mike Pankowski,
Yep, yes.
trustee Daryl Nichols,
Yes.
treasurer Lisa Moore,
Yeah.
clerk Sharp, yes. Supervisor Penny Turner,
Yes.
motion carried.
Okay. The next one, the Board of Review has been working on this. They got their March meeting coming up and they'd like to get this passed before their meeting. I guess by law, we have to have an asset test before March Board of Review meeting. So that's why this is being brought up. It's a resolution establishing 2021 poverty exemption policy and guidelines. This one's quite a long one. I don't know if you, do we legally have to read all this?
Probably.
Okay, whereas the homesteads of persons through the judgment of the supervisor and board of review by reason of poverty are unable to contribute to the public charges are eligible for exemption and whole apart from taxation pursuant to Public Act 390 of 1994 MCLA 211.7U, and whereas PA 390 of 1994 Section 7U provides that the governing body of the local assessing unit shall determine and make available to the public the policy and guidelines that the local assessing unit uses for the granting of exemptions, which shall include specific income and asset levels of the claimant and total household income and assets. Whereas the adoption of guidelines for poverty exemptions is within the authority of the township board, and whereas London Township desires to adopt certain guidelines for the township supervisor and the board of review to implement in compliance with PA 390 of 1994 and State Tax Commission Bulletin 17 of 2020, and whereas pursuant to state law, such guidelines are to include but not be limited to specific income and asset levels of the claimant and all persons residing in the household, including any property tax credit returns filed in the current or immediately preceding year. Now therefore be it resolved that the London Township Board does hereby adopt a 2021 poverty exemption policy and guideline as follows. To be eligible for an exemption, a person shall do all of the following on an annual basis. 1, be an owner of and occupy as a homestead the property for which an exemption is requested as required by MCL 211.7U2A. 2, file a claim with the supervisor and board of review accompanied by federal and state income tax returns for all persons residing in the homestead, including any property tax credit returns filed in the immediately preceding year or in the current year or assigned state tax commission form 4988 affidavit. 3, produce a valid driver's license or other form of identification if requested as required by MCL 2117U2C. 4, produce a deed, land contract, or other evidence of ownership of the property for which an exemption is requested as required by MCL 2117U2D. 5, meet the township poverty income standards as defined by 1.5 times the federal poverty guidelines and determined annually by the United States Department of Health and Human Services as set forth below for 2021 is required by MCL 2117U2E. Household size 1, 19,140 annually. Household size 2, 25,860. Household size 3, 32,580. Household size 4, 39,300. Household size 5, 46,20. Household size 6, 52,740. Household size 7, 59,460. Household size 8, 66,180. For each additional family member, add 6,720. 6, file an application after January 1st, but before the day prior to the last scheduled day of the Township December Board of Review as required by MCL 2117U3. A copy of the township application is attached here too. 7, meet an asset level test established by the township as to the amount of cash, fixed assets, or other property that could be used or converted to cash for use in the payment of property taxes as required by MCL 2117U4 as follows. Maximum asset standards to be eligible for a poverty exemption. Public Act 390 of 1994 states that the poverty exemption guidelines established by the governing body of the local assessing unit shall include an asset level test. London Township has adopted the following maximum asset standard for a household to be eligible for a poverty exemption. Assets cannot exceed 2.5 times the maximum income and can include the following: real property, not including current homestead, checking and savings accounts, certificates of deposit, stocks, bonds, or other investments, vehicles, including recreational vehicles and or other liquid assets. One person, 47,850. Two persons, 64,650. Three persons, 81,450. 4 persons, 98,250. 5 persons, 115,050. 6 persons, 131,850. 7 persons, 148,650. 8 persons, 165,450. If applicant household assets exceed this amount, the applicant is not eligible for a poverty exemption unless other identifiable and verifiable circumstances may be present. 8, demonstrate compliance with line 34 of MI 1040 CR and table 2 % of taxes not refundable of the instructions to MI 1040 CR, which establishes that 3.5% of annual adjusted gross income for general claimants and from 0 to 3.5% for other claimants as set forth therein is not refundable or subject to exemption for property taxes in the state of Michigan. Be it further resolved that the London Township Board of Review shall follow the above stated policy and guidelines in granting or denying an exemption in whole or in part, unless the Board of Review determines that there are substantial and compelling reasons why there should be a deviation from the policy and federal guidelines, and these reasons are communicated in writing to the claimant. Be it further resolved that the London Township Assessing Department shall make copies of the 2021 Poverty Exemption Policy and Guidelines available to the public. Any comments? If not, I make a motion to accept resolution establishing 2021 Poverty Exemption Policy and Guidelines. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Motion by Turner, seconded by Moore. To adopt resolution establishing 2021 poverty exemption and policy and guidelines.
So you made the motion, Penny, and Lisa second.
Second it.
Okay. Trustee Daryl Nichols,
Yes.
trustee Mike Pankowski,
Yes.
clerk Sharp, yes, supervisor Penny Turner,
Yes.
and treasurer Lisa Moore.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Number 10, Board of Review Training. It is now state mandated that the Board of Review members, under Public Act 660 of 218, have mandatory training. Barry found some training through MTA at a group rate for all 3 board members, himself and myself, at a cost of $380. So I need a motion to approve.
And no,
I'm sorry?
plus $10 for shipping of orders up to 350. Down underneath it.
Okay. I don't know if we really need the books. Let's see here. Let's add it just in case. I don't know if we need them, but so it'd be $10 shipping for books,
So that makes it $390.
$390.
So you're making a motion to approve the Board of Review classes with the cost of not to exceed $390.
Correct. Did I get a second?
Second.
I'll give that one to Daryl.
Moved by Turner, seconded by Turner to approve Board of Review training not to exceed $390.
You made the motion and Daryl seconded, right?
Correct. And we need roll call on that.
Roll call vote, Supervisor Penny Turner,
Yes.
Clerk Sharp, yes, Treasurer Lisa Moore,
Yes.
Trustee Daryl Nichols,
Yes.
Trustee Mike Pankowski.
Yes.
The membership that you put on here, Penny,
Yes.
I saw the fee schedule. Where do we fall?
Says full program. You mean as far as how many you can have?
No, that's not mentioned in here exactly what the dues are. It has population and then it has 2020 dues.
Oh, you're talking about SEMCOG. You moved on.
Well, yeah, we were finished with the vote.
Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, moving on.
Okay. Sorry.
Excuse me. Number 11, SEMCOG membership. We would fall under the $798. And SEMCOG is Southeast Michigan Council of Governments. For some reason, we have never joined this. Most of Monroe County townships have. It would provide, I talked to the lady. Let me find my notes here. They provide lots of data, training, planning, assistance, state and federal grant monies, aerial photography, and many other things. And like I said, we'd be at $785 a year. They also have they send out emails with different things that you can research and I can read you the note here. It says, as you're aware, having reliable information for a community is paramount to good decision-making, whether it is at the county or municipal level. In an effort to maintain accurate, reliable geographic information, the County of Monroe decided to acquire digital aerial photography in the spring of 2020. This imagery is now available. So if we join this, we get a 50% discount as a member, which I believe, trying to see if I wrote down the price somewhere. London Township, our price would be, let's see here, it says nothing. So I need to confirm that. Under some kind of member cost, it says nothing. But a non-member cost is $3,502. So we would save that.
Which is the same as the county.
Yeah. So I think we should try it for a year and see if we get any benefit out of it. I know other townships have been members for quite a while and they think it's a good idea. So I'm just putting it out there. Barry actually was the one that sent this to me. I know I got emails, but I never really paid any attention to them.
Is this what the benefit is though, is being a member of this is because of the aerial photography though? That's what the letter kind of reads about.
That, and they have training, you get discounts on trainings. You can be included on state and federal grants. They apply as a group and it's divvied out to the townships.
Penny, SEMCOG is Southeast Michigan Council of Governments. It is the Southeast Michigan Regional Planning Agency. They have many forums for planning assistance, planning resources. Aerial photography is one of the items that they offer in planning resources. The aerial photography we'd be getting is from Monroe County, particularly London Township. The set of aerial photos that was just taken last summer that would go integrate right into our GIS, that is available through the county. And if you're a member of SEMCOG, it's free. If you're not, it's over $3,000. So with the membership being less than $800 for a year, with all the extra planning resources and opportunities, I think it's kind of a no-brainer.
So as far as planning, so like with the master plan, would that help us with that too?
Yeah, there's assistance in planning. That's what they do. They assist local communities in planning with things that go across boundaries and basically regional planning issues. So they'd be a good resource for all sorts of things. Lots of information on solar farms, water districts, lots of different information there and consulting. So.
Okay. Thanks, Barry. I make a motion that we join SEMCOG at the cost of $785 a year. And I guess if it's not working for us, we can not renew. At least try it for a year.
For 1 year, Penny?
Yeah, at least try it for a year.
I'll second that motion.
You said it was 785. It's not the 798.
Let me see here. I'm sorry, it is 798. Okay, I make a motion. We join SEMCOG at the price of $798 for a year.
Second.
Moved by Turner, seconded by Nichols.
Just wanted to make sure I had the right amount in here.
Thank you, Kim.
Roll call vote. Trustee Michael Pinkowski,
Yes.
trustee Daryl Nichols,
Yes.
treasurer Lisa Moore,
Yes.
sorry, supervisor Penny Turner,
Yes.
and clerk Sharp, that would be me. Motion carries.
Okay, I think that's all of our unfinished business, or excuse me, new business.
There's usually a second citizens time.
Anybody?
Yeah, I have a few questions.
Okay, Mr. Howard, go ahead.
Yeah, so why is it that one resident can dictate who has the option of city water with the grant money? To me, you guys should have like a board, a bipartisan board of water committee people that at least 5 members of, both sides, or even, just so that it's not one person, because the way that it sounds to me, that we have grant money that one person's in charge of. So basically, in other words, besides they want the city water, they could make a direct line straight to their house, get 51% if they have $5 million, if it only costs, let's say $5,000 per parcel. I mean, to me, that just doesn't seem fair. I mean, who's in charge of the money? I mean, can I make my own district, or does it have to be her? I mean, I don't quite understand. Why does the township have a board if one person can dictate who gets it? I mean, that's one of my questions. Also, why is it that it's a big deal to make the PER the district? She's advertising the PER as the district. I mean, she has the price on her thing. You guys can look on the Facebook initiative page. And also, whenever I fill out a grant, for a PPP loan or any other grant, at the bottom of it says, is all this information the best of my knowledge? And usually I say yes. And, in your circumstance, there's a PER attached with a district, and you guys are saying yes. And to the best of our knowledge, we are going to use this district. And then and even though you guys plan on it, changing it. I mean, to me, that doesn't really seem fair. And it doesn't also seem fair to me for the people that want the city water, because now she's out there advertising a certain price to these people whenever she intends not to use those people. I mean, not all of them, it could be 100, 200. I don't know how many parcels. Obviously she has something in mind. And if she does, she should have filed the grant that way. I feel that the grant should go based off of the percentage of parcels. I mean, so if you guys deducted down 50%, however much grant money, you guys should take out 50%, or use the PER as intended, as you guys intended to use it. I mean, she's clearly lying to the residents. She just told you guys she's lying to the residents. She's telling them a certain price and don't even plan on giving it to all of them. I mean, so I urge that the board come up with a committee to basically for the pro water people, to make it fair for everybody. And then not only that, the way all this got started, I don't know if all the board members know this, but it all got started because they wanted to make sure the majority of the township got city water. So right now it's already eliminated down, but the majority would be getting it with this PER. So it would be that this is how the whole thing got started. So why wouldn't you guys follow the plan that got everything started? Not only that, I mean, you guys have grant money, if it's just up in the air. I mean, anybody can use it, apparently.
Okay.
Explain.
We'll take it under advisement, Daryl, and I'm sure Lisa's going to research. Lisa, I got the questions if you need them to get answers for Mr. Howard.
Oh, I got them.
Okay. Any other citizens?
Yeah, I got something, please.
Greg, go ahead.
Yeah. This is for Mr. Pinkowski. As an elected official, your performance at the Planning Commission meeting was inappropriate and unprofessional. And I'll leave it at that.
Anybody else?
I just want to say one thing.
Who is, okay, Barb, go
Barb,
ahead.
yeah, sorry, I don't know how to raise my hand on this thing. I have not lied to anybody. I resent being called a liar. So if anybody thinks that I lied about anything, please show me what you're talking about so we can discuss it maturely and calmly and rationally. And the other thing is, I was wondering, have any other citizens approached the board trying to create a water district?
Not to me, no.
No.
I will.
I'm talking to the board a minute. Kenneth, I'm not done. Just a minute. So if the board wants to create a district, initiate that process, you guys have that right. Absolutely. It would be a wonderful idea. And I don't think that, I wish that everybody in the entire township could have water without question. Unfortunately, everybody in the township cannot afford to pay for it. So I am not on the board. I'm a citizen. I'm doing what the law allows me to do. The reason why I had to take this lead is because the board could not do it. They started trying to do it. The cost was too high. There's no way. And the people who don't want water, including Kenneth, are asking the board to spend money to initiate this process. So keep in mind that if the board initiates this process, the board will have to spend money to do all of the things that I'm doing for free as a resident.
Okay, Barb, thank you. Anybody else?
I have some. From here on out, when you address me, please do it as the Ron.
All right,
I don't get it.
I don't either. It
Okay,
must be an
it's
inside
in
joke.
minutes somewhere.
Oh, okay.
Oh, in the middle minutes. Well, you are. You're the Ron.
Anybody else? Seeing there
Yes,
is,
could I say something, Penny?
go ahead, Amanda.
Thank you. I would like to say I was very happy that a lot of the mistakes were caught in the minutes. There were still a couple that I noticed, but I will say I'm glad it's getting better. I was happy to see the minutes on the website prior to the meeting. That way I could review them. And another thing, I know I briefly talked with Anita just on Facebook, but if you could get the bill sheets on either the website or just on Facebook, like I said to Anita, you can use Google Drive very easily to attach the link, put the link in Facebook, and it would take them to Google Drive. I did that when I was deputy clerk. I did that with the minutes and the agendas. But since we're all online, people can't come into the hall and actually view the bill sheets like we always did. So I think it would do a great service to the residents to put those online. That way everybody can view them.
Actually, I have an email ready to go to IT, right? To put up maybe a separate where we have the minutes, the agendas, to actually put the disbursements every month.
That would be wonderful. I mean,
Yeah,
it would just give more to the residents.
Right. I could not figure out how to do it tonight, and I was working on it since I got home this afternoon because it's in a PDF and I can't switch it over. So maybe I'll get with you on how to figure that out.
I'd be happy to show you, Anita. It's
Okay.
super easy. But just for future, even just taking a picture of it would be helpful.
Okay.
Even just posting a picture online, if you can't get it to work, that would be great.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, anybody else? Okay, if not, I entertain a motion to adjourn at,
Don't we have Board of Trustee
oh, I'm
comments?
sorry. I'm tired. Go ahead. Board of
We're all
Trustees.
tired.
I know.
So,
Yawning and making you guys.
I mean, so one of those, one of the things that, I ran on was this broadband, the internet, and I want to thank you, Penny, for forwarding that email. I am going to take part in the broadband task force for Monroe County later on this month. It's February 23rd. I have sent out 2 emails to Commissioner Brandt. I have not heard back from him on the task force that they done in Washtenaw County with links and dollars that are available. I sent an email to Representative Bolino. I've not heard back from them, either one of them. And it's been a month since I sent the last email. So I'm moving forward with whatever I can, get going here. But it would have been nice to at least had them on board, or at least had an answer on either one of my emails. So that's my comments. Thank you, Supervisor Turner.
Daryl, did I send you the stuff that I had gotten back from, I think it was Senator Zorn's office? Did I send that to you too?
Was that the like $300 and something million available for just Michigan?
Yeah. Okay, I just want to
Yeah,
make sure.
I mean, that's just like what I got from Washtenaw County, but they've got 13 carriers up there that are taking part in this. And that was my questions to Bolino and Brandt. I have not heard back from them, but I did register for that February 23rd for Monroe County.
Okay, I think I did too.
I'll be taking part in that task force.
Also, I don't know if I sent it to you or not, but I know there's a senator that's going to be trying to get a bill passed regarding internet, and it's going to be backed by Senator Zorn. So I'll send that to you too, just so you have that.
Perfect.
Any other board comments? Okay, I entertain a motion to adjourn at 11:19.
I'll second it.
So move, Supervisor Turner.
All right, everybody have a good night. So it was motion by Turner, seconded by Sharp to adjourn.
Good night, everybody.
I hear my bed calling me.
Right.